was going to do a video of this message, this presidential address, if you will. But turns out I have a face made for radio. Well, I'm Jake Doberenz, founder and president of Theophany Media. Just want to start with a bit of a story. So for the longest time, I thought that the proper way of communicating God to others was through the traditional means. The ways it seemed everyone else was communicating about God. That includes sermons, Bible classes, nonfiction books, the whole works. So while I bounced career choices growing up, I eventually settled on studying the Bible. I would be a Bible teacher. My undergraduate degree is in Bible, and I even got a communication studies minor to help with this mission. Then my master's degree, which I will wrap up this December, is in theological studies with a scripture emphasis. I thought that if you really wanted to help people become better Christians, you had to teach the Bible. Now, I didn't believe that ministry was the best career or the only one any Christian should go towards. But I felt like it was the most explicitly Christian. It was the most obviously helpful one to transform somebody's spiritual life. Yet, another desire poked and prodded me this whole time. Since 5th grade, I loved to write. Never mind the fact that my writing skills were gut-wrenchingly terrible. I nonetheless loved the idea of writing stories. It probably stems from the active imagination my parents curated in my brother and I as kids. We would create movies with toys, most of which were shameless rip-offs of established franchises, which we just did better, in our minds at least. So when I discovered that people can actually translate those stories onto a page and then share them with others, I was hooked. For some reason though, I never really saw creative writing as a viable career. I eventually figured that if I wanted to change the world, I had to teach about Christian topics. That tends to lend itself to a more pedantic nonfiction style. Yeah, I read Christian fiction, sure, but I was on a quest for the purest path to get my message to people in the world. Perhaps my mistake, the reason I felt this way, was because I watched one too many Christian movies. I wasn't convinced that many attempts at Christian media were all that helpful to real people. Teaching you about the Bible just seemed to be more directly to the point. I thought it was the best choice. So though I created stories, writing was always going to be a hobby, a side gig. Somehow, not a single moment, but a snowball of ideas, revelations, and events, I realized that my theological education and creative tendencies did not need to live worlds apart. In marrying the two, I could commit to excellent storytelling and excellent theological reflection, because, like in a marriage, the two are equal and one. Many Christian movies sacrifice storytelling for what they see as good theology, but I can't do that in good conscience. I now see storytelling as a tool that more of the world is receptive to, more than a college lecture or a 25-minute sermon. I found a new mission, a new way to bring value, knowledge, and even entertainment to the world. This is where Theophany Media begins. A theophany is a moment when God shows up in a visible way, a way that us humans can perceive. So Theophany Media is a place that creates, points out, and facilitates moments where God can show up in all sorts of places. In art, music, stories, comics, podcasts, you name it. We creatively communicate Christ because we firmly believe that God has given us this creativity and expects us to do something with it. We aren't afraid of big questions, what ifs, fantasy, hard truths, or uncomfortable portraits of reality. We are all in and commit to providing Christians with an authentic experience that combines faith, learning, and imagination. I invite you to follow us in this journey by subscribing, finding us on all the social medias, and signing up for our newsletter. Together, I think we can change the world for the better by leveraging our collective creativity. Join Theophany Media today as we try to make the world a better place and a more creative place.